This is a miraculous herb, revered as the supreme herb in China, ginseng. In legends, ginseng over 100 years old can run away. And where it grows, there is often a purple glow. Remarkably, it can bring the dead back to life and grant immortality. Are these legends unfounded rumors, or are they indeed true? To explore the truth, we venture deep into the forest, climb the high mountains, and enter the mysterious realm where ginseng thrives. With a microscopic perspective and a grand vision, we witness how a plant faces crises and fights for survival. We discover the long history of ginseng accompanying us, and the miraculous medicinal effects that save lives, which has established it as a classic herb, leaving a legacy for generations. The Changbai Mountains is one of the largest dormant volcanoes in China, where ice and fire have merged for millions of years in an incredible way. In July, herb hunters start going deep into the forest. Herb hunters refers to the ancient profession in northeastern China of harvesting ginseng and other medicinal herbs in the mountains.
It's fresh.
We can make dumplings with this. There might be some chaga mushrooms here. Most of them grow in the southwest direction.
Throw it to me. Okay. You can come down now, Wang.
Deep in the dense forest of the Changbai Mountains, it is said that there are many rare and ancient trees. And ginseng lives here.
See if there's any of those were left. Look at this sign. It's been here for years.
4-leaf.
It's a big 4-leaf one. 4-leaf ginseng.
The sign is a message left by herb hunters on the tree trunk. For instance, these marks represent the discovery of a rare aged wild ginseng. The sign means that the good fortune is near.
Let's keep looking around here. There is a saying, follow the sign. You'll have a good harvest. There is probably more nearby.
The character for ginseng was discovered on oracle bones, dating back 3,500 years ago. Its form is like a ginseng that fruits, with roots resembling a human figure.
Ginseng.
How many leaves?
5 small leaves. With 5 leaves it needs to grow for another year to be a mature one. It's not valuable. Too small right now. This might be the offspring of the elder ginseng. Let it grow a bit more. If we dig it up now, it won't be worth much.
At this time of year, the ginseng plant bears red fruit, which are very easy to recognize. Inside the fruit, there is the ginseng seed. With electron microscopy technology, we can see the strange shape of the seed. In the thick endosperm, the undeveloped cell mass is like an egg that cannot yet hatch. The chance of survival after falling to the ground is only 1%. In fact, this seed is even older than people might imagine. It is almost one of the earliest relic plants on this planet. It has existed since the Himalayan orogeny, 65 million years ago, surviving through geological upheavals, volcanic eruptions, and glacial periods, now hidden among the high mountains of northeast China. So, how did the ginseng seeds, with only a 1% chance of survival, survive for 65 million years and continue to thrive? About 10,000 years ago, humans began to observe and utilize plants and animals, discovering natural resources that can treat diseases. The Chinese people refer to these natural resources with medical effects as herbal medicine. The term herbal medicine first appeared in the Book of Han. The text mentions herbal scholars who were under the chief medical officer. It means that at least 2,000 years ago, there were officials in charge of herbal medicine in China. Since then, the Chinese people have continuously explored and collected natural resources with medicinal value, precisely formulating and preparing medicines. From the earliest 365 types in Shen Nong's Herbal Classic, today it has developed into over 18,000 types of traditional Chinese medicine resources. The Chinese people have never stopped exploring nature. But so far, herbs named after human in Chinese are still rare. Interestingly, the germination period of ginseng is similar to the human gestation period, approximately 280 days. They carry the ancient memories and special abilities that have been passed down for 65 million years, waiting for human discovery. During the southern and northern dynasties, the medical scholar Tao Hongjing described the scene of discovering ginseng in his book, Supplementary Records of Famous Physicians. The ginseng plant with 3 branches and 5 leaves grows on the shady side of a mountain, away from the sun. It could only be found under a linden tree. This is precisely the environment where botanists have discovered ginseng living today. Ginseng, a perennial herb from the Araliaceae family, grows in the slopes at altitudes of 500 to 1,100 meters. It thrives in a cool and moist climate, and the mixed coniferous and broadleaf forests here provide natural shelter for ginseng, like a perfect ecological island. The upper layer consists of tall coniferous and broadleaf trees. Beneath that, shrubs of medium height such as Siberian ginseng and mulberry form a dense second barrier. And herbaceous plants such as ferns and wormwood form the final barrier, slightly higher than the ginseng. The multiple ecological barriers block most of the light, allowing only UV and infrared rays to pass through, which is necessary for ginseng to grow. Ancient Chinese texts from the Han Dynasty record, where there is ginseng below, there is purple glow above. This saying reveals a small secret about ginseng that the Chinese people discovered 2,000 years ago.
The ancient Chinese people were actually very observant of nature. They noticed that ginseng grows where there is a purple glow. When we walk in the forests of the Changbai mountains, especially after rain, a thin mist covers the forest. And when sunlight penetrates the mist, it produces a purple glow. It is likely, below the purple glow, that ginseng grows, echoing what the ancients said.
Deep in the Changbai Mountains, the vegetation is lush and falling leaves accumulate, like a thermal blanket for the earth, maintaining the stable soil temperature. With the help of microorganisms, these leaves decompose and ferment, forming nutrient-rich humus soil. This soil, which accumulates year after year, provides a continuous supply of nutrients for ginseng.
There are 2 concepts of genuine medicinal materials.
One is the suitable production area and the other is also the genuine production area. Suitable refers to a place where the herb can grow. For the genuine production area, firstly, the genuine medicinal materials grown there must have good clinical efficacy. Secondly, whether it's planting or processing, it takes at least 3 generations to form a technically and culturally inherited genuine production area. The genuine production area of ginseng is primarily in the Changbai Mountains of Jilin Province,
which has multi-layered protective barriers and rich nutrient-rich humus. The Changbai Mountains has created a huge greenhouse, 128 kilometers long and 88 kilometers wide for ginseng seeds, with only a 1% chance of survival. So beneath the soil, How does ginseng grow?
There is a small story recorded in the book Extensive Records of the Five Elements, which tells of a family. In the Sui dynasty, every night, they would hear someone shouting. So, they followed the sound and finally found a plant near their house. Digging 5 feet into the ground, they found a ginseng root that resembled a human form.
Such stories are common in Chinese folklore. People began to believe that ginseng over 100 years old would run away, and a strange-sounding ginseng bird could help people find it. According to the big data statistics from the 4th National TCM Resources Survey, it is not birds that like ginseng, but a small animal living in the forests of the Changbai Mountains. The alpine chipmunk. Every year at the end of July or early August, when pine nuts are not yet ripe and ginseng has produced red fruit, the chipmunk will use its cheek pouches to loot ginseng fruit and build grain storage pits near its cave to store them. There can be as many as 50 to 60 grain storage pits around one chipmunk's cave. These ginseng seeds, when encountering suitable natural conditions, will sprout into ginseng seedlings. Every year, the natural death rate of ginseng seedlings exceeds 30%. Therefore, the rarity of ginseng increases with its age. In the humus-rich soil, the root system of ginseng is attached to a mass of mycelia. The mycelium networks spread in the soil around the ginseng, like a private mercenary army. On the one hand, they provide a good microecological nutrient environment for ginseng. On the other hand, they play a role in communication with the outside world. More importantly, ginseng uses these mycelium networks for defense and attack. When competing plants appear around it, the mycelium networks will inform the ginseng immediately. The ginseng plant then releases a plant growth inhibitor into the soil through the mycelium networks, eliminating all competitors. The weak seedlings will die naturally, while the strong seedlings that survive will occupy more soil nutrients and become the supreme herb. This characteristic causes the land that ginseng has grown in to be unusable for planting other ginseng for the next 20 to 25 years. However, what is surprising is that the land affected by interferons, although unable to grow other ginseng, still allows its offsprings to survive there. In other words, during its growth, ginseng will demarcate its territory and only accept its seeds to take root and sprout.
During the process of ginseng cultivation, we have also discovered some peculiar phenomena. We suspect that ginseng has a good way of understanding its own family. Possibly through certain information or sensory mechanisms, it is a highly representative ancient species.
The biggest difference between plants and humans is that, when the sun is a bit too harsh, humans can move to a cooler place. But plants only have 2 options: either die, or evolve rapidly to adapt. Ginseng, which has survived for 65 million years, is an excellent survivor. So, what special abilities does it have? The root collar is crucial to judge the age of ginseng. Before winter arrives each year, to preserve nutrients, ginseng sheds all of its above-ground stems and leaves, leaving a shallow groove. This is the appearance of the perennial root collar, with layers stacked over time. However, the root collar is not formed every year, because ginseng also possesses a longevity secret: dormancy. This is a ginseng root with decades of age. And this is a young ginseng root that is only 3 years old. By comparison, we can see that the young ginseng has only one main root, while the aged one, after a long period of time, grows new roots from different growth points on the original main root, providing better nutritional support. Eventually, it grows into the current multi-root structure. Each time the new root grows, The ginseng will enter a dormancy period of several years. The dormant ginseng will stop the growth of above-ground stems and leaves, and the root collar will no longer increase. The underground roots, when necessary, may even break off like a gecko's tail, preserving minimal survival consumption, while self-repairing. This marvelous biological characteristic has allowed ginseng to survive countless natural disasters over 65 million years, while maintaining its ancient and stable genetic makeup. A ginseng plant that survives for over 100 years must undergo intermittent dormancy for at least 20 years.
From the record of ginseng. In the Shen Nong's Herbal Classic during the Han Dynasty, to our current Chinese pharmacopoeia. Ginseng has three main effects in my understanding. Greatly replenishes vitality, nourishes the 5 internal organs, and prolongs lifespan with long-term consumption. Ginseng replenishes vitality, mainly by increasing the energy supply of cellular oxygen respiration, which aligns with traditional Chinese medicine. According to international evaluation methods, we found that ginseng indeed has a significant effect on prolonging the lifespan.
Over 2,000 years ago, the Chinese people already discovered that consuming ginseng can nourish the heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys. Clear eyes calm the nerves, resist fatigue and aging. In the Compendium of Materia Medica by Li Shizhen, ginseng has an excellent effect of nourishing and improving the constitution of all physically weak individuals. Such a miraculous plant has long been cultivated artificially throughout China, from the north to the south. According to New Notes of Guangdong, Su Shi, a famous poet in the Song dynasty, was exiled to Huizhou in Guangdong province. Frustrated in his career, he found solace in food. He created donpa pork, and even dreamed of being a true Guangdong person because of his love for lychees. He had a deep fondness for ginseng as well. Therefore, in his free time, he conducted a ginseng transplantation experiment, and even wrote a poem about it. However, botanists found that Mr. Su only transplanted the ginseng without sowing the seeds, and the transplanted ginseng lost much of its medicinal properties. Temperature, humidity, appropriate sunlight, and cooperation among plants, animals, and microorganisms together form the optimal ecological environment for ginseng's growth. Due to the slow development of artificial cultivation, the ancients mostly relied on wild ginseng for medicinal use. As a result, the price of ginseng soared. Emperor Taizu of the Ming dynasty once banned ginseng as a tribute to the royal court, because its mining caused excessive labor and expense. But later emperors apparently did not follow this decree. Scholars have found that from the 12th year of the Wanli period to the 12th year of the Jiaqing period, the price of ginseng surged over 700 times in over 200 years. Far away in the Changbai mountains, Nurhasai smelled the scent of money from ginseng. Under his leadership, the Jurchens exchanged ginseng for countless amounts of gold, silver, and currency, establishing the economic and military foundation to challenge the Ming dynasty. In 1644, the Jurchen cavalry suddenly broke through the Great Wall and advanced into the Central Plains, overthrowing the Ming dynasty, which had lasted 276 years. Such an apparently ordinary herb has accompanied the Chinese people in the long history. Once a rare herb, exclusive to the nobility and royalty, how has it come to the houses of ordinary people today? The Changbai Mountains is the main production area for ginseng in the world, and China is the largest market for ginseng trade globally. During the peak seasons of ginseng trading, high-quality ginseng from the Changbai Mountains always attracts merchants from all over the world. Ginseng is difficult to grow in the wild. and has been severely over-harvested. In the mid-20th century, the annual yield of wild ginseng in the Changbai Mountains decreased drastically from 50,000 kilograms at the end of the Ming Dynasty to less than 200 kilograms per year. Wild ginseng was nearly extinct. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, 4 national TCM resources surveys have been conducted so far. These surveys explored the medicinal resources existing on every inch of Chinese land, providing important data for the protection, development, and rational utilization of these resources. In August 2024, the 4th National TCM Resources Survey showed that there are currently 18,817 types of traditional Chinese medicine resources in China, all registered with their distribution information. Among these, 207 new species have been discovered, and the number continues to update.
The 4th National TCM Resources Survey thoroughly clarified our resource base. With ginseng being a key species, we established observation stations focused on ginseng, and set up propagation bases for ginseng seed sources. We want to give full play to our advantages and existing accumulations in the ginseng genuine production area. Through the 4th National TCM Resources Survey, to promote the Healthy China Initiative, rural revitalization, and environmental protection. By the high-quality development of the ginseng industry, we hope to drive the revitalization of Jilin Province and northeast China.
The Chinese people, throughout the long course of time, have discovered the medicinal value of plants from nature. They used herbs to heal the sick, and in turn, nurtured the herbs, explored their survival principles, and protected the harmony and stability of the ecology, allowing the herbs to continue to thrive. Ginseng, revered as the supreme herb, what medicinal value does it actually have for the human body? Through laboratory vaporization testing, it can be observed that ginseng contains a substance called ginsenosides. Saponins are a type of sterol compound that foams like soap in water. And ginsenosides are a subclass of saponins. Research has shown that ginsenosides have significant effects in enhancing immunity, cardiovascular function, and anti-tumor activities. Su Xiaoyun, director of the Department of Regenerative Medicine at the School of Pharmacy Jilin University, is leading a team conducting the latest experimental studies on ginseng. They are testing ginseng, from 3 to 20 years old, for acting on human myocardial cell models, with water decoction and ethanol extraction methods. What changes will occur in the cells? Decocting the ginseng root in water or processing with liquor has been the primary method of using ginseng in traditional medicine for centuries. The Chinese people discovered early on that ginseng is a herb with complex and varied components. A single ginseng root can be used alone as a prescription to treat diseases and save lives. Therefore, as early as the Yuan dynasty, the classic prescription was created: single ginseng decoction.
Single ginseng decoction is the only single ingredient traditional Chinese medicine formula in clinical practice. Its effect is to revive vitality and rescue those on the verge of death. The components of ginseng are very complex, meaning that the various substances, with different structures and effects, have a synergistic effect. A single component cannot represent the full efficacy of ginseng. So whether used for nourishment or treatment, it is best to consume the whole ginseng root, as it ensures that the active compounds, or nutritional ingredients, are more evenly distributed.
Ethanol extraction is similar to the traditional Chinese processing method, where liquor enhances the potency of the medicine. Over the past few thousand years, from the earliest extant medical classic in China, Huangdi Neijing, to the unearthed medical book, Healthcare Prescriptions, and then to formulas of the Qing Imperial Medical Hospital during the Ming and Qing dynasties, the presence of tonic liquor can be seen.
5-year-old ginseng mainly promotes the development of cardiovascular and glandular systems, which is in line with nourishing the zangfu organs in our traditional Chinese medicine theory. However, when examining the effects of 10-year-old ginseng, it shows a turning point in time where its effects begin to align more closely with those of 15-year-old ginseng. By the time it reaches 15 years, ginseng can help regulate the body in response to external stimuli, such as viruses and environmental factors, and assist in damage repair. If it's too high, adjust it downwards. If it's too low, adjust it upwards. Eventually, it maintains the body's internal balance, a concept in modern biology known as homeostasis. This aligns with the traditional Chinese medicinal principle of balancing yin and yang, ensuring a harmonious state for the body.
In 2012, ginseng was listed as a homology of medicine and food, with detailed notes that ginseng under 5 years old can be consumed as food, and those older than 5 years are used for medicinal purposes. Thus, ginseng has entered the houses of ordinary people as a superior health product, both medicinal and edible.
Since ancient times, ginseng has been featured in feasts.
The ginseng family feast symbolizes the wishes of longevity and health. This magical plant from the Changbai mountains has been brought into the everyday lives of people, with the unique taste from the genuine production area. The ancient people had no knowledge of the mechanisms by which ginseng treats cardiovascular diseases or repairs genes. But through traditional preparation methods they stumbled upon similar beneficial effects. In the Chinese classical novel Dream of the Red Chamber, the protagonist Lin Daiyu often takes ginseng yang rong pills to treat her congenital deficiency. This classic prescription originated from prescriptions of peaceful benevolent dispensary of the Song dynasty. The verse goes, derived from the tentonic decoction. Remove chuanxiong and add shisandra. Add chainpea polygala root ginger and jujube. Prescription for nourishing spleen, lung, vitality, and blood. Chao Sheiqin, the author of Dream of the Red Chamber, had a deep admiration for ginseng. His father, when serving as the supervisor of Jiangning weaving, was granted half a kilo of ginseng by Emperor Kangxi. This shows that at that time, ginseng was a symbol of power and social status. Thus, Chao Sheiqin, who experienced the fall of his family, mentioned in his book that, when the Jia family was prosperous, they could afford to consume 1 kilo of ginseng a day, but when they were in decline, they could not even obtain a small amount of ginseng. He embedded ginseng into the fate of the Jia family in Dream of the Red Chamber, using this herb to reflect the bitterness and desolation of life.
The hunting begins.
The seeds, with only a 1% chance of survival in the soil of its homeland, have endured 65 million years, breaking through the soil, sprouting on time, blooming magnificently, bearing fruit, and then soothing pain, comforting life. This is the story of ginseng, and also the story of herbs. In every step of human civilization, plants have always been with us. And herbal medicine represents Chinese repeated reflection on and reverence for nature over thousands of years. It is our unique way of understanding life, the gems of wisdom, and the cultural genes that span time and space. Thus, we taste tranquility with chrysanthemums, meet and understand each other in reeds, and long for the return of the traveler under the cornel. It illuminates the romance and greatness in our lives, and also mirrors every day of Chinese civilization.